Hi, welcome to the Grateful Wounds podcast. This is Tanasha with your host, and I am joined by actress Roan Peters. How are you doing, Roan?
Aloha, Tanasha. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
You,
Excited to be here.
yes, it's so good to see you. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
I know. We gotta get together again soon.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being here at the Grateful Wounds podcast. As you know, this podcast is a storytelling platform where real conversations about pain, healing, faith, motherhood, and transformation all take place. I believe in sharing powerful stories, expert insights, and just really, genuine conversations because at the end of the day, all of our deepest wounds can lead us to purpose, growth, and empowerment. So that's the purpose and mission of the podcast. And today we are talking about a time in your life when you lost yourself. This episode is entitled Losing Yourself, right? And so I thought it'd be great to have you on because you have such a powerful story. I'm not going to give it away. I got some questions for you. But before we go there, here's my opening script to Losing Yourself. Sometimes in relationships, marriage, or even motherhood, as in my case, we slowly start to lose part of ourselves. We forget who we are before life became so complicated. But the beauty in that is healing. It is healing that gives us the chance to rediscover who we are. Would you agree with that or disagree?
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So I wanted to just kind of dive in with when you hear the phrase losing yourself as a woman, what exactly does that mean to you?
For me, I think losing yourself is when you forget who you are at your core
Mm-hmm.
and you start to let go of things that you love to do. You forget about maybe your friends, your girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
You stop going to, different events, or you give up certain hobbies that used to fuel your soul. It
Right.
could literally be anything. You just forget the things that make you who you are. And it's really when you're in that
Yeah.
mindset or that feeling, it can get really sad and lonely and depressing because
Yeah.
you don't remember who you are.
Right. Right. So yes, you're exactly it. You exactly said everything that I was thinking, in terms of when I think of the phrase losing yourself as a woman, yeah, it's all of that, you just I don't know for you, but like I tune the whole world out sometimes and just, I forget completely about me. Like I forget about girlfriends, I forget about the things I enjoy. So yeah, it's all of that. So
Mm-hmm.
that leads me to the next question, which is when you think about the phrase losing yourself, right? Take us back to a moment in time where you basically, lost who you were.
Yeah, so this is a pretty straightforward, easy one for me to bring up because
Yeah.
it took up so much of my life the last several years. I was in an on and off relationship with this guy that I was madly in love with, blindly, I think. Ignored, looking back on it now, ignored quite a few red flags. And I think I kept trying to tell myself that things would change, things would get better, and, he'll eventually choose me type mentality. And in that process, I forgot myself because I was so focused on that relationship that I wanted it so badly to work out. And
Yeah.
I imagined a future with him, marriage and the kids, the whole nine yards, right?
Right.
And you build this scenario in your mind that it's gonna work out that way because you're told these things in the relationship, and you start to build this fantasy
Yeah.
in your head for, it's not based in reality. It's like you're basing it off of all these what ifs.
Uh-huh.
And so within these like last 7 years, I I don't the, I love acting, right? And
Right.
even that, like I couldn't get myself to want to do things, even like salsa dancing, bachata dancing. Like I would feel guilty
Okay.
going to these things or like doing events because I would always be concerned about, oh, what's he going to think about it? Oh, is he going to approve of this? Oh, is he going to think I'm this other person, right? It's like
Right.
making all these assumptions about who you are as a person when you know deep down to your core that these assumptions that other people make aren't who you are. But
Yeah.
you still allow these feelings and thoughts to get in the way, and then it kind of like dims your light,
Yeah.
and you are stuck in that mindset because you're so used to what you've allowed yourself to accept
Yeah.
in, and it could be it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a relationship with your siblings, your parents, whatever the case, your friends even.
Yeah.
But it's like forgetting that you need to set boundaries for yourself and have that self-respect. And so that's what was difficult for me in the last 7 years because I wanted it so badly to work out, and then to be betrayed more than once. But
Yes.
for the last and final time last year, when I finally had the proof and the evidence that he was cheating on me, and that was it for me. I couldn't get past that anymore because I saw the proof and the evidence, and there's no going back from losing that trust. And as painful as it was, in hindsight, it's like I think it was God's redirection for
Yeah.
myself, because I kept ignoring the signs and the red flags and all of that. And in the end, I think it's all gonna work out in God's timing. I have to believe that. It's all,
Yes.
put my
Yeah.
faith in him.
Yes, you should. All of that. You touched on a couple of things, choosing yourself and redirection. I'm going to get to those two major points. I
Hmm.
think, like for me, when I think about losing myself, similar to you, it wasn't necessarily like a relationship with, a partner or a romantic partner or anything. It was more with my son. I share in my podcast a time in my life when my son was first incarcerated and what that was like for me as a single mom, not expecting him to go down this type of path. And make,
Hmm.
just the decisions that he made, obviously not good ones. But when I think about it and go back to that time in my life, I completely lost who I was. I stopped, enjoying going out. I stopped being around friends. I stopped just doing anything that I like to do. I even stopped praying and stopped going to church. Like it was really bad and really
Wow.
a really dark time in my life when he first went off to prison. So I get
Hmm.
it. Like for all the listeners out there, I've been there. You yourself, you've been there, and so what I want to get to is the next thing is at what moment, like for you, I know what it is for me, but going back to you, at what moment in your life did you say, like, enough is enough? I've got to get back to Roan.
Hmm. I think it started even before the betrayal took place. I was already, because I had experienced so many letdowns, so many disappointments
Yeah,
within the past 7 years of, it's like that roller coaster relationship of you get the really high highs and then the
yeah,
really low lows. And looking back on it now, it's like I have to admit it was a very toxic relationship, as
yeah.
hard as it is to admit that. But seeing just how much I was put through,
Hmm.
um, emotionally, mentally, it it took a toll on my mental well-being and my self-esteem and my self-respect. My confidence was like at an all-time low.
Yeah,
And so I saw like a a reel or something on Instagram of this lady dancing, and it looked really sensual and beautiful, and the music was, I love music, and
Yeah.
so just seeing the moves in the choreo, I was like, oh, what's that? And
Right.
then I clicked on it, and it was heels dancing, and it was really intriguing to me. So I was like, okay, I need to find out what this is. Like, I want to check this out. This looks really fun. And I knew like I had not been dancing. Like, I love salsa, bachata dancing, and I had not been going to dance at all. Like I said, I lost who I was. And so when
Yeah.
I saw this, I was really interested in finding out more, and I ended up going to like an open workshop, fell in love, and I told myself, okay, in 6 months I'm gonna join like an actual workshop, a full month workshop. And
Okay.
so I ended up joining my first one. Her name is Julia, Body Soul Heals. Woo woo, shout out to that.
Woo-hoo.
Um, I joined, yeah, my first time was February of 2024, I
Okay.
believe, if I get the timing right. I think that's right. And so I joined it,
Yeah.
fell in love, met a group of girls who, oddly enough, everyone, we had like this circle moment where everyone is sharing their stories and what got them involved, why they were interested in joining the dance class.
Right.
And everyone just really connected, and there were so many similar stories of heartbreak and girls having lost themselves and trying to, you know, get in touch with their femininity and find themselves again. And so I went through that 3 week class, two
Yeah.
classes a week, fell in love. We performed it, and I was hooked because it gave me that sense of community that I was missing in Los Angeles. And the group of girls that I met, I have this small network of girls that I love, that I cherish, that I'm so grateful to have in my life. And without them, I think I would still be in a rut if it wasn't for the process that I went through, that journey of taking these dance classes and learning to love myself and to, you know, regain that respect that I always had but
Yeah.
lost in that relationship. And so it was, I think it was that point. Granted, there was still some like going back and then saying no, no more of this, then going back. You know, it
Right.
was like
Right.
this tug and pull with this
Yeah.
relationship and this experience I was having with like trying to heal through the dance. And then ultimately, yes, that was the I think catalyst of my healing process, because
Yeah.
it was already, I think I was in denial that the relationship was
Of
over
course.
before all the betrayal actually came to fruition, like when I had the actual proof of it all happening.
Right.
And so I think having had that relationship with the friendships that I gained with the girls that I met,
Yeah.
having them be there when I went through such a tough time in my life last year. I mean, I was utterly heartbroken, shattered, like
Yes.
heart in pieces, right?
Yes.
And the
I
girls
remember.
that I gained through this are the ones that lifted me up and stood by me to get me through it. And so I'm, yeah, extremely grateful for that experience.
Amen.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, so listeners,
Grateful for heels.
grateful for heels, right?
Yes. Oh my
Listeners
gosh.
probably don't know, but they're about to find out. So that is how you and I met, was in this high heels dance class.
Mm-hmm.
Body Soul Heels. Shout out to Julia Mager. Um, for me, my point in my life, I had came home. As you know, I work in human resources, and I
Mm-hmm.
came home one day to six police officers in my house,
Oh my
and
gosh.
it was, I was just like, oh my God, what is going on? So, a little bit of the backstory, which I've already shared in my first episode of Grateful Rune. So, those of you listening, if you haven't listened to my story, I encourage you to check out episode 1. But I share in there that, you know, my son did 5 years in prison. We were living in Texas at the time, and I moved out here to California. And when he got out, I went back to Texas. I got him, I moved him out here to LA, and was thinking, you know, he'll have a fresh start. Well, come to find out, 3 months after him being here in LA, he committed another crime and
Oh,
landed himself back in prison.
mm-hmm.
And knowing where I was in my life beforehand when it first happened, those 5 years, that dark place that I was in, I was determined not to go back to that dark place. So I took it upon myself to find a therapist. One of the first lessons she taught me was about leaning into my vulnerability. She taught me about boundaries, and she told me I needed to get back to doing things that made me happy. And like you, I was scrolling Instagram. I saw this girls dancing. I'm like, ooh, they're like so sexy and confident.
Mhm.
Like, I want to feel some of that. I've always wanted to dance, and Lord forbid, like who, not Lord forbid, but whoever decides to put a ring on it one day, like my man is gonna be so happy because it's a dream of mine to like dance for my future husband. But I took the class, right? And I'm thinking, oh, I'm just gonna go get some exercise and just do something for myself. But that class, oh my God, it was so transformational. And I met so many beautiful women. It's this sisterhood, this community. I met you.
Mhm.
I met Judith. Judith's been on another episode of my podcast. I've met so many beautiful women, and you fast forward to now, like we're all still friends, and we were all going through things similar.
Mhm.
It's like that was my moment. So I find beauty in that, and I find beauty in like this is what has put me on my healing path. So yay.
Yay.
For anyone listening, if you haven't, if you're going through something and you're looking for a fun way to try to get back to your confidence and, start your healing journey, why not try a high heels dance class? Would you agree with
Mhm.
that?
100%, yeah, because I was so shy going into it and nervous. Like I had never done that type of choreo style dancing, let alone in heels like that. And then the sensuality part of it, bringing all that in. Like I don't know how to be seductive,
Yeah,
so
girl. It's in you.
it's in there somewhere.
Yes,
Maybe eventually it'll come out, but yeah, so it really tapped a part of me that I had been holding within, like our inner goddess, right? We
yes,
we we keep it so sheltered and hidden, and I mean, part of it too is having been grown up so kind of sheltered in a way too,
yeah,
but just allowing yourself to be free and to feel it and to not judge yourself, you're not judging others. And that's the other part of the dance heals community, is that
yeah,
everyone is so supportive
yes,
of each other, and there's none of this competition happening of like, oh, I got to be better than her. It's like
yeah,
you're all on your own journey and everyone is at a different level. You're dancing besides next to professional dancers, you're dancing to brand new newbie dancers who've never done it before, and you're just inspired because
yeah,
you see the level that you could potentially get to if you
yeah,
stick with it. But also, it for some, it's literally just a hobby, a healing hobby for you to go and
yeah.
give that time to yourself to just have fun, let go, be free, and release that inner goddess that's in all of us.
In all
So
of us, yeah.
yeah.
I love how the class forces you, if you want, to tell your
Mm-hmm.
individual story. I remember when we were doing a filming for Grateful for Heels, there was a participant in there who, oh my God, it like brought all of us to tears when she was performing. And so I love is Lisa. I love how we all have
Mm-hmm.
our stories, and at the end of the day, we get to tell it how we choose. And so high heels dance is a beautiful way to do that. My next question for you is, when you think about, again, like losing yourself in the moment that you decided, you know what, I'm going to get back to me, what role do you believe your spirituality played in all of that, or did it?
Yeah, it definitely always has. It
Mhm.
No matter how low I've been in my life, or feeling depressed, for lack of a better word, because it is depression when you have no desire to do anything, and you have these sometimes really dark thoughts
Yeah,
about your own life and things, and where it's going.
yeah,
And the one thing constant in my life that has always been there, that I've never let go, has been my relationship with God and Jesus as my, he's my savior. And that's, without him, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah.
And yes, there are times where your relationship, or at least my relationship, has been lackluster or weak, or like you question things,
Yeah.
but he's always there.
There.
I know he's always there, and he's always had open arms for me, and for anyone who's willing to accept it. But
Yes.
I it's just been something that's always been a part of my life, and I think a huge part of that is because of how I was raised by my mom,
Mhm.
as a single mother. And not I've shared this with friends, or social media. Some people have seen it, but knowing what she went through, so at such a young age, raising two young kids,
Okay.
she lost her father, who was in the Philippines at the time, 10 days before she lost the love of her life, my father, to leukemia. He had a heart attack in the Philippines, and she couldn't go to her own father's funeral because she was taking care of my father, who was in the hospital getting chemo. And she had me as a 2.5-year-old, like 2 months shy of turning 3. My brother
Yeah.
was 1.5. And so just anytime I'm in a moment of like darkness or sadness, or, oh, life sucks and I'm never going to get through this type of feeling, it's like, how did my mom get through that? How did my
Right.
mom survive as a young mother with two little kids in a foreign country in Germany? She just lost her father, then she loses the love of her life. How did she get through that? And I always ask her, like, Ma, how did you survive that? Like, I can't even imagine,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
And her answer has always been, it was God. God is what helped her get through it.
Amen.
And without God and her relationship with him, she would have had, nothing to live for, to serve, to raise us. And so anytime I'm in a low rut or whatever bad feeling I'm in, I just think about my mom and what she had to go through. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, Rowan, shut up. Like, what you're going through is nothing compared to what your own mother went through and survived to get you to where you are today.
Right.
So there's no excuses. And yeah, and it always leads back to God. He's the number one constant in my life, in my mom's life, and even in my brother's life. So
I love that.
um
I love
yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah. My story's not as beautiful as that, but I'm getting back there. I actually did an episode on this podcast called a time in your life when you lost your faith.
Mm-hmm.
I had gotten away from God, but I know that he's like right here. He's just like right here.
Yeah.
Always. And so I'm like slowly but surely getting back to making sure that I always put him first. Because at the end of the day, like you said, like it does, people in your life who have been through some things, it's like, wow, if she could get through it and get through that, my little,
Mm-hmm.
not little stuff, but my stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we all have different levels of our first world problems, right? Or whatever it is, but
Yeah,
yeah.
like, get it together. So
Mm-hmm.
I totally respect that. All right. Well, see, girl, 25 minutes or 23 minutes have gone by so quickly.
I know. That
With
went
just
by super fast.
super fast. With just a few more minutes in this episode before we close it out, one of the things I like to always ask guests, as you can see, the title of the podcast is Grateful Wounds. So, anyone listening out there, what is like one thing that you are grateful for in your life where you are right now? And what would you say to someone? So it's two questions. And what would you say to someone that may be going through this period of time where they feel like they're losing themselves? Go ahead and speak to our listeners.
Okay. Wow, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
Uh, what are we not, or what am I not grateful for? Goodness, I'm grateful for even waking up today and taking a breath, right? So yeah, I mean, the biggest things I'm grateful for are, of course, my own life, my health, my mom, my brother, my niece, nephew, my stepsister. The people in my life that I love.
Yes.
My half brother too. My goodness. And all my friends,
And
of course. And then last but not least, the relationship I have with God,
Yeah.
because like I said, he's the one who's getting me through everything. And what I would say to those who have lost themselves,
Yeah.
find the people that inspire you. Surround yourself with people who find a new hobby. Find something that just relights something within your soul that brings you joy. That even if it's scary or you've never done it before, these are the things that teach you something new, and it really inspires you to want to improve yourself even better. And then when you do one thing, it's like, oh my gosh, okay, if I was able to do that, I want to try this next. And it really just, it kind of gives you this like trickle effect of like, you do one thing and then it just keeps building on itself, and you want to keep doing more of other things that inspire you. And whether that's finding even something, in the creative side outside of your 9 to 5 or whatever it is,
Right.
anything that just gives you that passion, and like I said, reignites the fire within you, because that's what's going to get you through any kind of low point. And of course, finding some sense of spirituality, whatever that might be for you, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, whatever the case,
Yeah.
some kind of spiritual connection that you have with Mother Earth and the universe, and what gets you through it. So those are my words of
Thank
advice.
you.
I
Thank
could keep going on, but I'm gonna stop because I
Oh,
know
you
there's
did
a
great.
stopping point.
You did great. You did great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rowan, for being here. I really appreciate you being a guest on today's episode of Grateful Wounds, the podcast. Um, I just want to end with this in terms of those of you that may be listening. Um, Life, sometimes whether you're going through, if you're a mom and you're going through a painful period of time dealing with your children, or if you're going through, a painful time in your relationship, married, boyfriend, girlfriend, etc., sometimes the unexpected situations or loss that separate you doesn't have to mean that you need to lose yourself. I want you to remember that you are not disappearing. And think about it like this: you're actually being invited to rediscover who you are at your core. Also, I want you to remember that sometimes the most powerful thing that you can do is to come back home to yourself. Not the version of the world that needs you, but come back home to the version that God created you to be. So those are my final words, right?
Yes, amen to that.
Those are my final words on today's episode of the Grateful Wounds podcast. Again, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please just subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as always, remember to count it all joy. I'm getting goosebumps. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Rowan, again for being here. It's been a pleasure. And
Thanks, Tanasha.
thank
This has
you
been
all for
fun.
listening. God bless.
God bless you too. Love you.
Love you too.